Hello, I'm Leonard Nimoy. The year 1955 brought joy on the one hand and tears on the other. Disneyland opened its gates to the world's youngsters and oldsters alike. The Barbie doll also made her debut. But there was also tragedy in 1955, especially for movie fans. The teenage rebel, James Dean, was killed in a car accident and was mourned worldwide. In other entertainment news, Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock was the song that defined a generation. And on the sports roster, Ohio State beat USC in the Rose Bowl. So join us now as we present the 1955 episode of Our 20th Century.
World hopes for peace soared at the Geneva Summit Parley, where heads of state of Russia, France, England, and the United States met to create what was to be known as the Geneva Spirit. Here, President Eisenhower electrified the world with his dramatic proposal of the open sky inspection of military installations as a barrier to unexpected attack. It was a plea for an ensured peace. Unfortunately, the Geneva Spirit failed to materialize in a subsequent meeting of the Big Four foreign ministers, where a hopeless deadlock ensued. The densely populated northeastern states were dealt one of the most staggering blows in their long history. Within a few weeks of each other, Hurricane Carol and later a 9-inch deluge combined to reduce some of the nation's oldest cities to a shambles. 400 perished during these disasters, and property losses ran into the hundreds of millions. One of the cradles of American civilization was battered but not beaten. President Eisenhower, at the height of the disaster, made a personal survey of the stricken area and ordered immediate federal aid. Even as these pictures were made, rebuilding had started. The year saw two of the nation's worst air disasters. One, a deliberate act of sabotage, in which a time bomb took the lives of 44. The other flight, in which 66 were killed, crashed into the craggy crest of Medicine Bow Mountain. The grim coincidence shared in both disasters was their point of origin, Denver, and their common graveyard, the Rockies. A 10-year dictatorship ended in South America. Juan Perón, strongman of the Argentine, reached the end of the road. After one abortive revolution and a second conclusive one, his appeal for support fell on deaf ears. A long history of persecution of the clergy and his excommunication brought the inevitable retribution. Elements of Army, Navy, and Air Force defected to provide his ouster. In the final stages of the revolt, the last to fall was the headquarters of the Labor Confederation, his staunchest supporters. Exit the dictator.
At Castle Air Force Base, California, the B-52, America's biggest and newest jet bomber, goes into squadron service with the Strategic Air Command. A wingspan of 185 feet, length of over 150 feet, and intercontinental range. Over 6,000 miles without refueling. Combat ceiling of 50,000 feet and a speed estimated at over 600 miles an hour. That's the B-52, shown in these Defense Department films, going into active service in quantity, threatening devastating counterattack to any aggressor. The mightiest bomber in history.
Vice President Richard Nixon returns to his first job as filling station attendant to help launch the March of Dimes campaign. He's lost none of the skill he picked up in college days when he worked summers in his father's gas station. This filling station is donating a day's profits to the anti-polio campaign. Hence the slogan, "Fill her up for polio." It's the keynote of a nationwide campaign to support the March of Dimes. Also lending a hand is polio youngster Carol Vitello, driving a midget auto in the Pump for Polio campaign.
1955, a year of anxiety and triumphs. A major medical hurdle was crossed with the discovery by Dr. Jonas Salk of the anti-polio vaccine, which was to spread a mantle of protection over millions of American children. And the scientist entered the ranks of the medical immortals. Leading drug firms shifted into high gear to meet a national demand, which spread to every crossroads despite early controversy. Each hastily set up center became a mecca for anxious parents shepherding little Johnny and little Jill to their inoculations. They're protected, and it didn't hurt a bit.
An air of tense expectation pervades the crowd awaiting the presentation of Motion Picture Academy Awards. Jane Wyman and Ross Hunter Jeff Chandler and his wife are among the interested spectators. Universal International's Rock Hudson escorts UI's lovely new star, Cornell Borchers, to the function. The curtain rises on Moviedom's big night. UI's Les Carey gets an Oscar for his sound recording in The Glenn Miller Story. Grace Kelly receives the award as Best Actress of the Year from William Holden. Best Actor award goes to Marlon Brando, who previously has been a candidate, but this year is a winner. The motion picture world has given its verdict.
Thousand fans in Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum see Norman Van Brocklin's second period pass intercepted by the Browns' Don Paul and run back 70 yards for a touchdown as the Rams beat the Cleveland Browns for the Pro Football Championship. 6 plays later, Van Brocklin fades back again, passes, and this aerial connects. Skeets Quinlan snares it and romps for the Rams' first score of the game. Almost doesn't make it. Trailing 10-7, the Rams take to the air once more, and once more it is intercepted. 7 Brown interceptions help turn the game into a Cleveland touchdown parade. Otto Graham made his farewell appearance, closing out his grid career in brilliant style with passes like this one. Another Cleveland score. Graham again completed to Labelle for 10 yards. Graham closed his 10-year career with a completion average of 55.8%. On the ground, too, he's as tricky and dangerous as ever. Stopped cold on the 0 line, but it's Graham who walks away. And on the very next play, it's a quarterback sneak for score. The 38-14 victory was a fine farewell gift from Graham to Coach Paul Brown, the Browns' 3rd NFL crown in 6 years. But what happens next year without Graham? Technicians make last-minute adjustments for the world's first demonstration of the telephone of tomorrow at the Western Electronics Convention in San Francisco. It's the often forecast video phone. How does it work? Just lift the receiver and you see your own image. This feature's for the girls. At long last, a reason for the primping that usually precedes a woman's phone call. No picture is transmitted over the line, though, since no call is placed. Then dial your number just as with an obsolete old 55 model phone, and when your party answers, there he is, almost as big as life on the 10-inch video screen. The system could have its disadvantages as well as virtues, but there's plenty of time to iron out problems in human relations. This hookup would cost $5,000 per phone today. So until the price comes down, the video phone remains the phone of the future. See you then.